My name is Myra Eaton, and I'm 31 years old. I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who changes her locks and blocks her own mother's number. But life has a way of teaching you lessons you never asked for, and sometimes the people who hurt you the deepest are the ones who were supposed to love you the most. My daughter Lily turned 8 years old on a Saturday in April. 8 years old. The age where little girls still believe in magic, still think birthday parties are the most important events in the universe, still count down the days on a paper chain hanging from their bedroom door. Lily had been counting down for 3 weeks. She'd picked her cake flavor, strawberry with rainbow sprinkles. She'd chosen the decorations herself, pink balloons and silver streamers. She'd made a guest list in her little notebook, and at the very top, in her careful, looping handwriting, she had written, "Grandma and Grandpa," underlined twice. I had sent the invitations 6 weeks in advance. 6 weeks. I called my mother, Renee, personally. I called my father, Gordon. I called my 2 brothers and their wives. I sent a follow-up message 2 weeks before. I confirmed again the Thursday before the party. Every single one of them said they would be there. My mother's exact words were, "Of course we'll be there, Myra. She's our granddaughter." I remember feeling relieved when she said that. I remember thinking that whatever tension had existed between us over the past couple of years didn't matter anymore, because family shows up for the children. Family shows up when it counts. The morning of Lily's party, I woke up early and decorated the backyard myself. I blew up 40 balloons. I arranged the tables, set out the party favors, picked up the strawberry cake from the bakery, and put on Lily's favorite playlist. My daughter came downstairs in her pink dress, eyes wide, bouncing on her toes. "Is everyone coming today, Mama?" she asked. I told her yes. I told her everyone was coming. I believed it when I said it. The party was scheduled for 2 o'clock. By 2:30, not one member of my family had arrived. I kept checking my phone. No messages, no calls, no explanations. Just silence. I told Lily that maybe there was traffic. By 3 o'clock, I stopped making excuses. By 4 o'clock, it was just the 2 of us and 2 of Lily's school friends whose parents had actually shown up. I watched my daughter look toward the gate every few minutes, waiting. I watched her stop looking. That was the moment something inside me went very, very quiet. That night, after Lily was asleep, I sent my mother a message asking what had happened. She replied the next morning with 4 words, "Something came up, sorry." No phone call. No real explanation. No acknowledgement of what her absence had done to her 8-year-old granddaughter. Just 4 words and a period. I stared at that message for a long time. I didn't respond. Then, exactly 1 week later, my mother sent a group message to the entire family. Cheerful, bright, full of exclamation points. She was organizing a celebration for my cousin Bridget's Sweet 15, a big quinceañera-style event at a rented venue downtown. And at the bottom of the message, in bold text, she had written the part that made my jaw drop. Attendance per person was $2,600, payable immediately via Venmo. No negotiation. No, if you can make it. Just a payment demand for a party for a child who was not even her grandchild, sent by the same woman who couldn't bother to drive across town for her own granddaughter's birthday 1 week earlier. I read that message 3 times. Then I put my phone down, walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and stood there for a long moment thinking about exactly what kind of woman I was going to be from that day forward. I had my answer before I finished the glass. I am not a petty woman by nature. I was raised to keep the peace, to swallow my feelings, to smile at family gatherings even when something felt wrong. For 31 years, I had been the daughter who called first, who apologized even when I hadn't done anything wrong, who showed up even when showing up was hard. But standing in my kitchen that evening, reading my mother's payment demand for a party she expected me to fund after she had skipped my daughter's birthday without a real apology, something in me finally, quietly, snapped. I opened Venmo. I found my mother's account. And I sent her exactly $1. In the notes section, I typed one single word, "Congratulations." Then I put my phone face down on the counter and went to check on Lily. The next morning, I called a locksmith. I had every lock in my house changed by noon. Not because I was afraid of anyone breaking in, but because my mother had a spare key, the kind of spare key you give someone when you trust them completely, when you believe that family means something. I wanted that key to mean nothing anymore. I wanted the version of myself that handed it over to simply not exist in this house any longer. After the locksmith left, I went through my phone and I blocked my mother's number. Then my father's. Then both of my brothers, who had also been silent for a full week and had also sent nothing, no birthday message to Lily, no explanation, nothing. I didn't do it in anger. I did it with a steadiness that surprised even me, the way you feel when you finally made a decision you should have made a long time ago. 2 days passed. On the third morning, I heard a knock at the door. When I opened it, 2 police officers were standing on my porch. My mother had called them. She had reported that I was behaving erratically, that she was worried about my mental health, that I had cut off all contact with the family without warning. The officers were polite and professional. They asked if I was okay. I told them I was fine. I invited them inside, showed them the birthday decorations still packed away in a box by the hallway, showed them Lily's guest list with my mother's name underlined twice at the top, and explained calmly and clearly what had happened. I showed them the Venmo request for $2,600. I showed them my mother's forward apology. One of the officers looked at the other. Then he looked back at me and said, "Ma'am, you seem completely fine to us." They left within 15 minutes. After I closed the door, I leaned against it and let out a breath I felt like I had been holding for 31 years. Because here is what I understood in that moment with a clarity I had never had before. My family had never actually seen me. They had seen a version of me that was useful to them, compliant, forgiving, always available, always willing to absorb whatever they handed out and come back smiling. The moment I stopped performing that role, the moment I responded not with a phone call full of tears, but with a single dollar and a word, they panicked. They called the police not because they were worried about me, but because they didn't recognize me anymore. And that told me everything. Lily asked me once, a few weeks later, why we don't visit Grandma anymore. I sat with her on the couch, and I told her the truth in the way you tell an 8-year-old the truth, gently, without bitterness, without making her carry any of it. I told her that sometimes people, even people in our family, don't always show up the way we need them to, and that it's okay to love someone and still decide to protect your peace. She thought about it for a moment, then nodded and went back to her drawing. Children understand more than we think. They also heal faster when the chaos is finally removed. I won't pretend the months that followed were easy. Grief doesn't only come when someone dies. It comes when you finally stop waiting for people to become who you needed them to be. I grieved the mother I had wanted, the family dinners that never felt quite safe, the version of my childhood where someone showed up for me the way I showed up for Lily. I let myself feel all of it. And then I got up and kept going, because my daughter was watching, and she deserved to see what it looks like when a woman chooses herself without apology. Today, Lily and I are doing more than fine. We have friends who feel like family, a home that feels like peace, and a life that no longer costs us $2,600 in emotional debt just to belong to it. I changed the locks on my house that day, but more than that, I changed the locks on what I would allow into my life. And I have never, not once, regretted it.